Hello, good morning. It's Olive here, and I want to talk to you about 7 ways to tell impactful stories so that you can engage your audience and really bring them into your story and have them stay and listen to you. And through your story, you can tell so many things, really tell the lesson in the story and engage your audience, and they will stay and listen and make a connection with your audience. So welcome, and that's today's topic. So if you're joining me live, please say hello. I'd love to shout out to you. Tell me where you're coming from, and if you're on the replay, then let me know you're on the replay. And so if we haven't met before, my name is Olive Dodd, and I'm bringing tips and education and motivation and encouragement to bring your business online, to use social media strategies the modern way. So we don't want to chase our family and friends, and we want to attract people to us. And so I'm coming to you from the small eastern island of Prince Edward Island in eastern Canada. I'm a little bit away from home, across the other side of the country on holidays, but I am here giving you a live, all in the middle of it, because I just want to stay connected to everyone. So, and I want to talk about stories today. Does everyone love a story? Do you watch movies? Do you go to the movies? Do you watch TV? And why do you do that? What is so engaging about that? You go in, you get pulled into the story, and that makes a connection, and you connect with the characters in there, and you might learn something. Might be a lesson in there. You can relate to the character in the story, you relate it to your own life, and you come out enriched and rewarded. And so that's how we want to engage our audience when we do our lives, when we do posts, anything like that. We want to bring out the emotions and bring out the engagement. And I just have some notes here. And stories is how knowledge has been passed down through ages. You know, that was the traditional way to pass on knowledge. And so that is the best way to put out stories, because if you are confused about something and somebody brings it into a story, then that makes it so much easier to understand. And if you can relate to something rather than just facts and figures and numbers. So stories is the best way, and make such a more connection with your audience and a stronger relationship. And so I want to give you some 7 steps to how to better your stories. What makes a story a good story? And so there's 7 factors to that. So I want to share that with you today. So first of all, there's a character, of course. You know, there's a person, it's an upline, downline, a prospect, whoever it is, there's a story. And most relatable, of course, if it's about you. And then there has to be a problem, you know, a challenge for the character to overcome or to do, and, you know, something that is going to happen. Something's going to happen next or did happen. And then there's a guide. And the guide can be a person, a thing, an acknowledgement, or a new learning that the character takes place. Something, some kind of transformational system. So a guide would be someone who steers the character on the correct path, or teaches them a lesson, or, you know, motivates them, like a mentor type of person who would encourage you to go on the right path, or keep you on the right path. And then there's the plan. So the plan would be the idea of something that you might have to do, or the character has to do. And then there's number 5 is the action or the inaction. So whether the character does something or doesn't do something will change the course or the outcome. And then number 6 is the success. So if the character does the plan or doesn't do the plan, does the character have success? What is the result of everything? And then, of course, there's the opposite of that. Number 7 is failure. What happens if the character doesn't go ahead with the plan? You know, does the world come to an end, or, you know, is a relationship severed, or what happens? And so those 7 steps again is there's a character, and number 2 is there's a problem, and number 3 there's a guide to show the way. Number 4 is the plan, and number 5 is the action or inaction, and 6 and 7 is success and failure. And so every story should have these parts to it. And so you think about it, obviously you're always going to have a character, and somewhere in there there's an impactful story. The character goes through some kind of transformation, and so there's a lesson there. So if you can pull out the lesson in the story, then that's going to make it so much more impactful, and that's when people are going to relate and get that aha moment. And so that's really key. And so so now I have 4 things that to help you kind of organize your thoughts. So those are the key elements, and these are things that to keep in mind when you're telling your story. It does need to have some kind of structure. So if you have random thoughts here and there, it's very difficult for your audience to follow the story. So you want to have some kind of structure, you know, and clarity. The second one is clarity. Follow a series of events. If you have random things, then there needs to be something that ties them together, rather than just jumping all over the place. Otherwise, your audience will be very confused. And to tell a complete story. So if you don't start at the beginning, if you jump in right into the middle, then you're missing a spot, and there's always that question in people's minds. Or if you leave out the middle and jump, you go, well, how did you get from here to there? So you want to tell a complete story. But it is possible maybe to leave a bit of a cliffhanger. You know, when I just went to a movie recently, and was it Spider-Man? And they leave you with a little bit of a cliffhanger as to what's going to come in the next movie. And then that's actually a good thing, because then that creates a curiosity, and your audience is going to come back, because now I want to see the next movie to see what happens, because I have a little bit of a hint as to what's going to happen. And so wouldn't that be wonderful in your business if you have people just waiting for your next live because they want to hear, you know, the rest of the story. And so that's really key, is to keep, you know, a little bit of curiosity in there. And then the last tip is to be truthful. We are building a relationship here where we want people to know, like, and trust us. So you want to have a story that's true, because people can tell when it's embellished and, you know, a bit of a fishtail. So make it truthful and authentic, especially if it's a story about you. You want it to be something that's reliable, and you want people to be able to really trust you, because otherwise you're going to lose your audience very quickly if, you know, you're telling tall tales and that kind of thing. And so that the trust will completely, you know, go out the window. So that's it. So you want to have some structure to it, clarity in the series of events, you know, tie them together, a complete story from the beginning to the end, and to be truthful. And so when we tell a story, that's going to make a huge difference in whether people listen or not, or whether they listen to the entire live that you're doing. Otherwise, if it's just facts and figures, it's not as interesting. So having a story in there really ties things together and engages your audience, and so there'll be a deeper connection. And then listen for the lesson in things. You know, what's the lesson in the story? And we can all learn from lessons, especially when it's in a story form. And so that's all I have for today. So I hope that, you get out there and do a live. My story is for the first time in my life. I went stand-up paddleboarding yesterday. It was my first try. And so if you are tentative about doing lives, just get out there and do it. I got out on that board, and then of course at the end you go, yes, I did it. So get that feeling and jump in there and do your lives and tell a story. Okay. Hope you have a wonderful day, whatever part of the day it is for you. And we'll hopefully, we will see you on Monday. I like to do my lives Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but traveling seems to be sometimes a little bit of a challenge sometimes, because you never know when life pops up or you have to be here and there in different schedules. So, but that's my plan, is next week on Monday. So have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and we'll talk to you very soon. Thank you. Bye.